Hey everyone, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. Thought I'd show you how to make some basil go a little bit further in winter. Via cuttings. You may have seen this on the internet before. It's not a new thing, but I thought, well, I haven't shown you myself, so I will have a go. So I've done this before, trying to keep basil going in winter, and with varying results. Even when I was in the tropics in far north Queensland, I wasn't especially impressed with how quickly basil does grow if you can keep going through winter. Like, not enough to keep eating from it, but I suppose it depends how many plants you have. But this is worth a backup for the interim seasons, and it seems we can usually get basil even in winter time. It gets to a point eventually where you can't get basil, or so I thought, but so far this year it hasn't been hard to find. Anyway, this one came from Woolworths. It seems like it's in pretty good condition. Some basil just really looks awful by the time you get it home. And this one is green basil, which made me laugh. Like, good on you, Woolies. That's Woolworths. It's like, I'm so glad my basil is green. Anyway, enough of that. So, to start off the cutting, we are going to look at the very base of it. It's kind of a bit woody below this growth node here. So I'm going to start next one up. Also, it would be a bit too long and lanky. We don't want to make it too long because it makes it harder for the plant to draw moisture up and do everything it needs to do. So, given that we're going to get that much root growth up the stem here, like with tomatoes, as I said, we're going to start here and at the plant nursery where I worked for quite a number of years. We're told to sort of scratch that off there so that you have the point to get it down into the potting mix when it's eventually planted, and you've got a bit more space there for the roots to come out. But I mean, you know, you're also going to get them up the stem, so it's just habit. That's what I was taught, so that's what I do with all the cuttings anyway. So here, we don't want to make it too hard for the plant to photosynthesize and do everything it needs to do, so I'm just going to take all of the largest leaves off. So that's the cutting that we've got, and we'll put that in water and keep going. And you don't need to waste any of the leaves that you get off. You can either cook with them straight away, obviously, or you can do what I'm doing here and dry them so that you can have them in a jar. Once they're crispy, it only takes, you know, inside at an average kind of temperature, it only takes 3, maybe 4 days. Even this time of the year, these have been out here 2 days and you can already hear they're starting to get a little bit crispy. Anyway, that's the basics. Oh, a little note on this Fowler's Vicola jar. That's a brand name that we have in Australia. Quite an old company, been going, I'm not sure how long, at least 100 years. This was my grandmother's bottling jar or canning jar, and I thought, oh, it's just lovely, I love the green. I realised recently I was using it as my sourdough starter jar, and then I thought, oh my goodness, it's probably uranium glass, which, you know, you don't really want near your food. So I don't think it'll matter for the basil. I'll check for sure if it's just green glass or if it's uranium glass. My daughter has a black light, so I can check in the dark if it glows. Glowing in the dark is not really good to have near your food. But anyway, it still reminds me of my grandmother and her bottling. They used to live in a fruit growing area. Anyway, that's what we're up to today, and I hope you can have a go and keep your basil going. At least to get a bit more basil through winter without having to keep buying it and watching it go yucky in the fridge, as I often do, sadly. This will give you a bit more of a chance. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having fun in the garden, and I'll see you next time.